Welcome back to episode 2 of our Sky Factory 3 series. So we have some explaining to do. I guess I have a little bit of stuff to start off with here. I'm going to tell you what has actually happened. I'm not sure if Josh wants, but I'm going to say the reason why, explain what's happened and why this episode is being so late and all the mishaps and it took to get this episode just out. So what you're seeing here is our fourth take of episode 2. Third take, but we're going to record episode 3. That didn't work either. Because I recorded the episode 2 that previous day, it didn't work as well. So we now have to backtrack to episode 2 again, and we're going to restart from, well, not restart, but start off here and explain the gap that those episodes, what we did in those episodes and the achievements that happened and what we covered, and hopefully catch everyone up to speed to what has happened since, like, now it would be over a month between the episodes now, at least in real time, how long it took to record these. So part of this was because, and just to make very kind of simple here, was the old headset I was using in previous episodes, which, for those of you who know, looked something like this. This was starting to fail. And I needed to switch to another headset, which the one I'm using now. The problem with this headset is this headset is also recognized by a separate device than the mixer I use to record and the microphone, where the microphone's plugged into and where the computer looks. So when I plugged this in, the software I used to voice chat with Josh here was going to the default audio, which defaulted not to the mixer but to the headset itself. Thus, because the computer wasn't looking to this headset, Josh's voice wasn't recorded. So anything he said was not recorded. So most of the episodes was just me talking and then having open gaps where Josh was supposed to have said something, and then I responded to something that no one heard. So we eventually, after much discussion, decided to scrap the old episodes and start anew. So Josh here's going to get a second chance to explain what has happened since the first episode and what will be episode 2. Okay, Josh, your turn.
Okay, so second chance. Here we are. Okay, so all you people out there must be call last. We were shoving painfully made dirt into painfully made sieves on a painfully small 8x8 bit, and as I can imagine, you're kind of well, as you can see, if you look to the north, these very large cobblestone towers, which are in fact mob farms. As you can see, cobblestone's not a problem anymore because we got that. And if you look around here, we got cobble over here. In fact, if anything, you look in here, look at this thing. We got a bunch of cobble in there because we made cobblestone generators. And if anything, we didn't just make cobblestone generators. We made very, very good cobblestone generators.
The ones that are over here in the back.
Here.
There's cobblestone generators back here. Nice, these tier 2 cobblestone generators, which generate a freaking.
We have too much cobblestone.
We probably will have to eventually. We should upgrade these to the crystal chests so we can just have endless amounts of cobblestone in here.
Point. Oh, yeah, we'll work on that later. Okay, so wait 1 second. To give you know what, we better go into creative so we can get like a better view of this. Don't worry, people, we're not cheating. Gosh, it's just for
I'll go creative mode. I'll go to creative mode for camera to. Do you want to stay in survival mode to show them what's going on?
Yep. Okay. So you can fly a little. Okay. Cool. So as you can see here, our whole place is a little bigger. Not exactly a little hate that was filling the room with salt. So as you can see, we had what was originally here. Just for some explanation, because like, oh, what's this weird dirt doing here? We're growing 4x4 oak trees to get a bunch of wood and stuff. As you can see, we have more wood than we'll ever need, even though ironically we're running a little short, which is stupid. Because there's no wood generators apparently, but there are cobblestone generators, because that makes sense. So a little bit of a rundown. Firstly, in our main place, so as you can see, we have a whole bunch of barrels set out to collect water. Water, of course, if you know Minecraft, is used for lots of stuff. We have barrels over here to store water when it does rain, because it's free water, as opposed to having to use the crucibles in order to make water out of plant junk. Also, we have a bunch of much better sieves. In fact, I'll show you just how much better sieves we have later on. We have plenty of furnaces here. We have all these containers full of a bunch of junk and stuff, and we also have the crucibles. Crucibles, it makes lava out of cobblestone. Lava is very helpful for other things, like lots of stuff. And here we also got our farms. We have a bunch of sugarcane growing, a number of beans. I recently made a coffee maker, because for some reason coffee is actually pretty decent in this mod. It fills 4 hunger, and if you do it right, it'll actually give you a speed boost for a temporary amount of time. Also, magical crop stuff. As you can see, we have plenty of inferium. Just to assure you of something, no, this was not made in creative mode. No, this was all made painstakingly, hand by hand, because that was horrible, evil, it's terrible times. Maybe even 100 hours to make all this crap. It was stupid. And if that wasn't bad enough, you look here at these lovely little black blocks here. If you look closely, those of you who know the later Minecraft can probably look in there and says, hey, isn't that a dragon egg? Yes, sir, that is a dragon egg. And you know what? You can make dragon eggs in this game without having to kill the ender dragon, which you would have thought, oh, that's easier. No, it's not. It's actually really painful to make these. I'm not going to go through that explaining how that happened, because that was a terrible experience.
Those of you who can look it up in the Wikipedia page.
Yes, feel free to look that up and understand why I don't want to relive that. Again, these are the mob farms. You can hear the lovely sounds of monsters dying. Beautiful, beautiful, I must say. A lovely orchestration. Here's the portal to the Nether, which in Sky Factory 3 is not the Nether. It is just like a big empty space where Nether creatures can spawn. That's the extent of it. So that sucks, because that means we can't get netherrack easily. We have to craft it using lava. Stupid. And here's our machine place. We got a bunch of these things. Like I said, better sieves. We have auto sieves. They power on redstone flux on the multiple generators we have going on. And these lovely explosions, which we tried to reduce the sound of, are called explosive generators. 160 redstone flux per tick. Pretty darn good. Unfortunately, they blast things away. Luckily, it doesn't damage us that much, and it doesn't really damage any objects anywhere at all. But it sure as hell is annoying.
It damages you if you don't have your hunger bar full, and if you happen to jump when the explosion goes off, it will launch you straight up in the air. And you saw my character move just then. They don't do damage to blocks. They will hurt you a little bit if you're not careful. They will also just sort of launch you around and toss you. You have to be careful. Yep. And even with these mufflers, I'm not sure if you guys can hear them, but they're still quite loud.
Yep, they are quite irksome. Also, those of you who know Tinker's Construct, which I certainly hope you do, otherwise why the hell are you watching this? This is obviously the smeltery. Unfortunately, since this is Sky Factory, this isn't very useful for anything, because it makes good tools. Unfortunately, you tend not to need to have good tools in this mod, but you know what? It's cool anyway, so we made it. Very handy for storing lots of metal, so that's something. There's a coke oven. Those of you who don't know what the coke oven is, I also don't understand why you're watching this. The coke oven is to make coke coal, which is better coal. It's used to make steel and things like this. A blast furnace, throw iron in here, make steel. Steel is much better than iron. has limited uses and things, but is helpful for making things like this. Those of you who don't know what this is, that's totally fine. I didn't know what this was either. This is an arc furnace, a very complex and expensive thing to make. It smelts things too. This is a crusher, not the normal. This is from the crusher from Immersive Engineering, not the one from actually Additions or Extra Utilities 2. This one's, as you can see, a multi-block structure. It grinds things up, only specific things, however. It's very bizarre. Its primary use seems to be to crush coke coal in order to make coke dust, which you can use to make steel as well. But anywho, that's that, and over here is something in progress. I guess we'll get into this later on. Suffice it to say, this has to do with certain kinds of magic and stuff that we're using. Lots of stuff from Botania and actually Additions. This thing's called Empower. It empowers crystals made in this device in this little room. It's not very important to look at. It's dumb looking. That thing this is called a. This is actually the first machine we built on this mod that was like a machine called the molecular.
The atomic reconstructor.
Atomic reconstructor, that's right. That thing is used to make things like redstone and lapis into crystals of various forms. This thing empowers them to make them useful in magical machinery, which apparently includes greenhouse glass, because that makes sense. Here's some more magical stuff. This thing is actually what I myself am currently working on. We are otherwise working on other things primarily to do with Inferium. We just recently, in fact, made iron seeds and we're in the process of making diamond seeds, I believe, right? Or did we just finish them?
I believe we just finished them, because let me check my inventory.
Perfect.
Yes, I have diamond seeds right here. This took so much time to craft, you would not believe, because you need
so much time.
Supremium essence to make it, and also tier 5, like crafting seeds level like tier 5, which is needs Superium, and it costs. For example, with 1 stack of Inferium, you get 1 Supremium. That's how expensive this friggin' thing is.
Because that's cool and makes sense and is totally 1,000,000% fair.
Well, this means though we can
clearly cared about.
This means we can grow diamonds, so we can actually have diamonds on here, so we don't need to rely on all the grinding of necessarily of all these to do it. We can have, like with the Inferium, have mild lengths of just like diamonds galore.
Yep. So unfortunately, another weird thing about these plants that should be noted, however, is that they do not operate like normal plants in vanilla, where when you break a plant, it drops not only whatever the plant produces. In this case, this is not the case. If you break it, it will not multiply seeds, so you have to make all the seeds manually. So that's going to take a while to really make that out. But otherwise, we do have a steady supply of diamonds. It just takes some time because it's running through all those machines. Those auto sieves are grinding up gravel, which has a small percentage chance of producing diamonds. But that small percentage, if you throw enough crap in there, turns out to produce, at this time, over 4 stacks of diamonds, which I believe is quite good, even for actually better, in many cases, than other mods that would lack the mod that is running these sieves called Excompressum and Exnihilum.
Yes, these mods are amazing. They're so good. Of course, it took a while for me to convince Josh to like it. At first, he hated them, so I showed him. I showed him the auto siver and the auto hammer, and he instantly fell in love with them.
Yep. And you know what? I have to admit, the one thing, like, I'll be totally honest. I don't particularly like the fact that there is no environment here, and it all has to be artificially constructed. But these things, this Excompressum, Exnihilo, and all that, almost makes up for that. It's insane. This thing, I want this. You hearing me, Mojang? I want this. I want this. It fixes problems.
It makes
Fixes
diamonds.
problems. You don't have to make.
It makes diamonds a
machines
little
just
bit
make
easier to
this.
find because you don't have to go spend hours to go get it. You can go get a common resource like gravel and just like go through gravel nonstop to get better ores out of it. So you don't have to go through these caves that you would have to go through in regular Minecraft. So for Sky Factory, it makes sense, and also it would have be really kind of an easy way to start in vanilla Minecraft. You could start off with these things to use to craft stuff to get basic resources out, so you don't have to go worry about dying without an armor set on.
Yes, that would be nice. Because everyone knows diamonds is the whole thing in Minecraft. Because diamonds, even though actually lapis is a lot harder to get, or rather emeralds. But well, then again, emeralds are useless in vanilla. We got 2 stacks of emeralds too, and guess where we got those?
We got them from these.
Got them from these things right here.
So one of the things
Gosh.
we also need to explain, you probably saw it outside of the corner of my camera, or my view here, this giant friggin' chest.
Yep. Please explain what this giant chest is here for.
So this chest is part of the Colossal Chests mod. We're using this basically as a dump site. Any useless random crap gets dumped into here, which means we have like probably 10 stacks of arrows in here, with probably 20 stacks of lapis, maybe even more, and then probably about 30 stacks of string.
Yep.
And probably about 50 stacks of nether quartz in here as well. So,
Yep. And a whole bunch of ground up nether gravel and stuff because I was running out of space for that. But yep, that's the stuff. It's a glorified garage because, as you can see, we don't want to throw away all this stuff, so we are clearly hoarders. So
And-
this is just enabling us. But you know what? That's okay.
So Josh,
That's what Minecraft's all about.
Josh, go
Yep.
ahead and open the chest. You can see this chest also, it basically works like one of the smaller ones. It has the animation where the giant chest does actually open up. You can actually, it's friggin' enormous. You can go ahead and close it. So,
This thing is crazy. Oh, and by the way, wasn't exactly easy to make this either.
oh yeah, half the wood that we had was actually used to craft this thing. This
Half
thing
the wood,
took,
that's cute. It wasn't half the wood. It wasn't half the wood, it was all the wood. It was all the wood. All of it.
oh, sorry.
How many trees, how many trees do we have to kill? How many environments and ecosystems do we have to like butcher equivalently to make this giant, stupid, glorified trash can? That's cool.
Do you want us all to explain the chickens and everything that we have around here and what these guys do?
Okay, so, that's right. I almost forgot about these guys. Okay, so these chickens are kind of here to poop out some special items that it turns out you can't really make, at least not realistically, in this mod. And by naturally, I mean that for those of you who have played these mods, even the ones that are really good and well known, like Test Pack Please Ignore, and all of the mods, and Feed the Beast Infinite, and other things associated with Feed the Beast in general. In fact, excellent mod, yes. However, the people who make these mods are not always 100% aware that some of the items in them, or particularly some of the raw materials in them, do not always have a basic source. And what I mean by basic source is that some of the crafting recipes for those things go in kind of a loophole, or some of them are in fact just don't exist in nature, and neither can be crafted using natural things in the first place. And by that I mean you can't make them.
Yeah.
You have to spawn them in. They're basically the equivalent of natural resource command blocks, because they don't exist in nature and you can't craft them. Like these ones aren't as good an example because many of these you could actually get if there was an environment. Here it's much more difficult, but in some of the people who do know some of these weird mod packs, particularly one called Test Spec Please Ignore, there were instances like items called chrome and kinds of like other materials. I believe zinc was one of them, such that in order to acquire things like chrome and zinc, you had to have them already in order to power a machine that could derive them from basic resources and ores. So those are the kinds of problems that have arisen in here as well. Some of these items that they drop, you just can't get. Like some of the items in here you can get, and they're just here for convenience. But there are some in here that just at least I couldn't figure out a way to get any of them. For example, night slime. I have no idea. I tried to figure out how to get it. I looked it up. I could find nothing.
A lot of these chickens here can we actually get in vanilla, and for a while Josh here didn't know that. I had to explain to him that these are actually possible to get.
That's true.
So once you get in and build your normal like Sky Factory, when you build like a sky block and you build a little area for mobs to spawn on to get like the cow and chickens, you can get that chicken. Then you can, if they lay an egg, then you can craft it into a certain type of chicken, and then you basically get all these different variations by breeding it with different types. So you take one of the normal one, like the one of, I forgot the first one you get, but you take that one with the original chicken, you breed them together, you get another type. Then you get that type and you breed the other type together to get a different one. So it's a lot of breeding multiple chickens together to get all the possibilities.
Yes, it's
each one of the chickens lays a different type of egg, or and not necessarily egg, but drops like a different type of resource off of it. So blaze rod for chicken, for example, you can kind of guess what that one's going to be. It's quite obvious. It has blaze rods. But ones, for example, like the Chick Nesto and the Smart Chicken, are a little harder to guess what they do because, well, they don't tell you what it is. They seem to be more or less just a funny chicken that looks cool and silly. Like the Smart Chicken looks like Donald Duck. Chicken Ernesto looks like a chicken in a tuxedo. Then you have Funaway Chicken, which looks like like Bob the Builder as if he was a chicken.
Yeah, some of these were actually more so for fun than anything else, because it was like, I don't know what this thing does, so we made it and saw what it does, and most often we found it was totally useless. We didn't have the heart to murder them in cold blood, so they're here still.
Yes, and off of us. That's what this whole area is here, and you see this whole thing of, and when you hear the sound is, we have this giant pen full of friggin' chickens. And they are the bane of our existence.
So that's one of the byproducts of all this, basically. If anything, they're kind of there in order to be, to get, raw chicken, as in the meat.
Yeah, they're there more for food for us.
Yeah, but they also drop some handy stuff as well. I mean, here and there.
Like manure. That's what they drop, which you can see all throughout in there.
Yeah, so most people who would think manure, gross, or those who know the actual use of it's it's good for farming and stuff. Yes, but also in Sky Factory, it is a much more efficient use than saplings in order to fill wooden barrels that you can compost into dirt.
Yeah. So, hopefully that explains a little bit of what has happened since that episode, and I hope you guys can forgive me for having those issues with the computer. Sorry. It's tech.
Dude, it
has issues.
Okay.
It's stuff that everyone has to deal with. So, just remember, we did do this all ourselves.
Yep. Nice and slow like.
If I could, I would try to find a way to post to show you guys the server log of how much time he's been on, because Josh here's been on a lot. So most of the time it's Josh is the one who's actually built majority of the stuff you see here. And when I say spent a little time, for example, for last week when I was going to recording episode 2 proper, which was the original time we were recording the episode yesterday. No, it was last week. Sorry. What happened? So it was spring break. It was April, like the first week of April. I was out of town for that entire week, and I was up in Mammoth Mountain, which is a little east of where I live right now, in San Mateo. Still in California. So I was over there. I went over there to ski, which is up at 8,000 feet. So I was skiing there every day for 4 days, 2 days, 9 to 4, and came back. Left Monday, came back Friday. That entire time, Josh was on the server every single day, from 12 to 6, from 12 p.m. 12 a.m. to 6 a.m. or which was it? 12 p.m. to 6.
It was like 12 p.m. to 6 a.m. So I was kind of doing almost 18 hours a day working on a lot of this. Actually, during most of that time, it was working on these barrels and stuff in order to make dirt, in order to make dirt and like grind stuff through the sieve, get water, and actually it was largely to build this, like all these farms and some of the machines. Actually, most of the machines you see there now were not built during that time, but afterwards. But suffice it to say, the reason why most of this place is large in size was because of those many hours.
So a lot of this work has been because of Josh, not any part really due to, well, maybe bits and pieces. So it's the way it's been ran, the way this server we started off as Josh's the builder. He's really good at just gaining insane amount of resources in vanilla in just knowing how to farm resources. I was going through and
I'm the farmer,
and I was the one in charge. I would say, okay, we have to do this. We need to do this achievement.
Yeah, this guy, dude, Keenan, this guy is the guy who tells us, okay, what do we do with it? Like, I just throw stuff in barrels and kick stuff. Like, and he's the one who says, okay, what can we do out of this? What can we get out of this? And I said, I don't know, what do we do with it? And he tells me what we got to do with it. So this guy's the head, and I don't know, I'm like the butt or the foot or something.
So, and that's probably the way we will continue to run it. Is he's going to be the farmer character. I am the engineer/scientist character. So he will build machines, but it's for him. He does it trudgingly.
Yes.
With a lot of frustration.
Yes. Plenty of frustration, particularly when I find out afterwards, like those machines you see over there in the distance over there. Yeah, those look pretty cool. Turns out we don't need them. So that must have been over 100 ingots of steel for nothing. Not in there. And
there's some
over there.
So this is some of the ingots we have crafted up from all of the resource generation he's put over there.
Yes,
all of this is coming out.
Here, this, my friends, is farming.
This is Josh's work.
And you know what the best part is? I have no idea if we need any of these. I just made them because
we need yellorium for the extreme reactors. We do need a lot of we will need a lot of these. Yeah, we need draconium for draconium evolution. We have Tinker Construct stuff. You can put these in Tinker's Construct and double the amount that you have out of it. That's why Tinker's Construct is so good. It gives you 2 for every one ore you get in there. You get double the amount of ore out of it.
Yeah, that's right. Unfortunately, ore does not come in its usual form here because there's no actual mining in some
unlike we can't go down to a cave because
however you can still however get ore, what are called ore chunks, and you get ore chunks by primarily by shoving things through sieves. and those ore chunks operate in the same way as normal ores. So basically, like if you threw one into the what's it called, the smeltery over there, it would make it into 2 or sometimes even 3 ingots worth of that metal, as opposed to in vanilla, you just throw it into an ordinary furnace and only get 1 ingot per ore.
And these also leave it in liquid form, so you can craft them into weapons, materials, and some crazy stuff. So you could, instead of getting just necessarily a ingot cast, you can get something. You can make it out of a pickaxe head that has like made of obsidian, which is really strong, or make it like a bow and arrow that has a crazy amount of more damage than the normal bow and arrow with Tinker's Construct. So
very, very good stuff here. It makes me almost wish that there were more mobs around so we could use them against them. But
yeah. So the way we never bothered to explain this in the original series, so this is kind of just mainly us just sort of talking. So sorry, but I'm the one who has been into the mods, and I've done mod packs for a while. Josh here is still very much is a vanilla type of guy. So
yeah, like very vanilla. I'm like bean sprout vanilla over here.
Hence why he likes the farming, because it's basically requires not too much knowledge of how the mods work. Where I spend a lot of time in between episodes researching the mods, trying to understand what work and what I can do and how do I get to the next achievement.
100%. That's, oh my gosh. Yeah, completely.
So hopefully that explanation is good enough for you guys. So
yep. Okay. Hopefully that'll. Yep.
That was okay. Now we're gonna actually go to. So that was going to be. I'm not sure how long that footage will be. Probably is going to be an episode on its own of just that explanation. So apologize for that, but it was needed badly. So
yes.
Join us next week. Well, we're going to possibly get through some extra achievements. What I want to do is I want to try to get the Supremium armor. It's going to be really hard to get, but I want to get to Supremium armor. We do also...
Dude, it is so good. So good.
We also need... I want to check if we can have some sort of automation in here. Oh, yeah, so we do need... I want to try to work then next... Josh, you need to work on trying to find some way of automating the crop harvesting.
Yeah, I'll have to look that up. There's got to be some way to do it.
So, thank you guys so much for watching. See you guys.
All I got ahead is a moonlit road.